Hello and welcome to the season premiere of the ZTV Sports Report, your home for all things Akron Zips athletics. As always, I'm your host, Max Erisey. Now, you may recognize his voice from some of our segments last season, but this is the first time that he's been up here hosting with me. So I'd like to introduce Josh Feaster. Josh, thanks for being up here, and how we feeling, man?
I'm feeling good, you feel me? I was a little nervous at first, but ain't nothing to be nervous about. We talking Zip Sports, something we love, so.
We'll get right into it. Yeah, we got a lot of good sports to cover, a lot of good content. So don't go anywhere, because the ZTV Sports Report starts now. As with all of our fall sports, the men's soccer season has just begun. Let's waste no time and take it over to Dayvion, who will break down how their season has started.
What's up, my fellow Zips? Looking back on the 2021 men's soccer season, the Zips are coming off a 9-6-3 record in which they exited early from the NCAA tournament, getting knocked out in the first round by Santa Clara. They graduated several key players, including leading goal scorer Diogo Pachenko, defensive leader Daniel Strachan, and star goalkeeper Will Meyer. Heading into the 2022 season, the Zips return head coach Jared Embeck for what is his 10th season with the program. The Zips started off the season with a 5-3 victory over Florida International, with Jason Shukaluk leading the way by scoring multiple goals. Then in their home opener against VCU, the Zips came out on top with a score of 3-1. They followed that with a 5-1 victory over Rice State, in which every goal was scored by a different player, and a 2-0 victory over Michigan State. But in their most recent game, the perfect season will come to an end thanks to Indiana beating us 2-0. The Zips currently hold a record of 4-1. On the season, shout out to Jason Shukaluk and Johnny Fitzgerald for having scored 3 goals each, and Dyson Clapier for scoring twice. Other key players so far have been Joseph Paulus, Ryan Kiesford, and Captain Will Jackson. Looking ahead, the Zips will have a tough matchup against number 11 ranked Pittsburgh, as well as solid opponents like Ohio State. From there, they will jump into a conference play where we hope to see more of what we've been seeing. We know what this team is capable of, and I'm excited to see what they can accomplish. If they come ready to play in every game, this is a team that can go all the way. This is Dayvion Mosley-Wesley with the ZTV Sports Report. Go Zips!
Thank you, Dayvion, for that coverage. And Josh, obviously, seeing a game like that Indiana game, that's always a bummer to lose a big game by multiple goals and, to get shut out like that. But on the whole, I think this is a start that we've got to be really happy with.
Oh yeah, for sure. We 4-1 right now. Like, you can't get too much better than that. And on top of that, if you really just think about this program, I think we're looking good from here on out. We got a veteran coach, been here for 10 years? Mm-hmm. So we know what needs to be done. You feel me? We're nice at soccer. We know this. Mm-hmm. So we got a winning system in place. We just got to execute.
Yeah. I mean, Akron, definitely one of the most highly regarded and most prestigious college programs in the country when it comes to soccer. And I think we've really seen that this year. Obviously that Indiana game, bad games are going to happen. You're going to come out flat sometimes. You're just not going to have it. But for the majority of the season so far, they've really been showing like this is a team that can hang on a national level. I mean, those first 4 games, we kind of just saw them, continually rise through the rankings. I think at the time of that Indiana game, I'm pretty sure they were top 10, and they might not still be after that. But I think a lot of good pieces in place. Some big games moving forward, obviously with Pitt and Ohio State. What do you, Josh? What do you think that they need to do to really come out on top in these games?
I don't know. I think we have all the pieces. It's all about execution. We got to come out, play zip soccer, and do what we do.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, zip soccer, death by passing, that's what they're known for. And then you just think, like, especially playing at home, it's one of the best soccer stadiums in the country, one of the best fan bases in the country.
Yeah.
So I think they've got all the pieces on their side, you know?
Yeah,
and
sure.
speaking of pieces, they've got a lot of really good players that, you know, returning talent that can really provide a lot for this team. I mean, obviously they lost some big seniors last year, but that's always going to happen. You know, there's always going to be that turnover. But between goal scorers and playmakers, they've just got, you know, so much to be happy about right now. Between, you know, Jason Chukaluk and Ryan Kingsford up top, to, you know, Johnny Fitzgerald and newer players like Joseph Paulus, who are really starting to step up. And then you've got your captain of the team, your rock, Will Jackson, you know, really stepping up and filling the void that Daniel Strachan left last year. But, you know, I mean, there's just so much to be excited about. Players like Malik Henry, I didn't even mention him. You give the ball to him down the wing, and that's an easy cross into the box and an easy chance on goal. So, you know, we've been really liking what we're seeing from them, but they've got to, I'd say their biggest key is just avoid, you know, those flat games like they had against Indiana. Because that's Akron, man. They'll go so hard and just pop off for, you know, 3 or 4 games. And then when it comes time to continue that, they'll maybe let up a little bit. So they cannot let up anymore. Keep riding it. And I think they can go all the way, man. They've got the team.
Sure.
So, you know, let's see if it happens. So we're going to take it to our first commercial break now. But when we come back, we'll be checking out the women's soccer team and seeing how their season has gone. Stay tuned.
You're watching ZTV.
You ready to play band with us? I'm gonna play my clarinet.
And Elmo's gonna play his drum.
Drum loud.
Oh, well, you know what to do, Julia.
Julia knows.
With Julia's autism, loud sounds can be too much.
But she still loves to make music.
Play band.
Early screening for autism can make a lifetime of difference. Find out more at screenforautism.org.
You're watching ZTV.
So we've already checked in on one side of the soccer equation, but let's take it over to the other and see how the women's soccer team has been faring. So here's Zach with that coverage.
Hello everybody, I'm Zach Leininger, and today we're going to take a deep dive into the Zips women's soccer team. Before we get into this season, let's take a look back on the 2021 season. Last season, the Zips ended with a record of 3-15-1. The Zips had a tough season, losing 6 of their 9 home games, as well as 9 of their 10 games on the road, which can be attributed a lot to the young talent on their roster. Speaking of the young talent, we had freshman Katie Stafford, who led the team with 4 of their 12 goals, along with a 66.7 shot on goal percentage. In addition, fellow freshman Sarah Wynn contributed 4 assists and was a huge asset to the team, while freshman Penelope Quirine made 91 saves in the season, posting a 72% save percentage. Looking into the season, there's a lot to be excited about. One of the most important things has been the signing of coach Jen Sabinetti from Case Western Reserve University. Along with her signing, the Zips have brought back a lot of their roster, as the team now mainly consists of sophomores, with a few freshmen and juniors sprinkled in. The team is still very young, so they still have a lot to learn. Here's what Coach Sabinetti had to say about her team.
So takeaways are that our team is buying into a whole new environment. So we've changed a lot from the culture to the style of play to the personnel. So just the fact that they're buying into what we're asking of them, we're getting results, which is a big deal when you take over a program, that you get results immediately by building confidence in the players and teaching them the game the right way. So a lot of takeaways that are positive. Definitely think we can do better. I think we're kind of self-inflicting our own issues on the field right now, but I think that's because it's such a new style for them and a new learning environment that's going to happen early. But we're really looking forward to the future.
Looking at the season, the Zips record is currently 1-1-2, with their first win coming against Youngstown State in their home opener, in which the Zips came away with a 1-0 victory, with Caitlin Bruni providing the goal. In the next game on the road at Marshall, the Zips played a hard-fought game, resulting in a 2-2 tie. Morgan Pence and Emma King each had a goal, while Caitlin Bruni tacked on an assist. In their next game on the road against Oakland, the Zips had another hard-fought battle, yet again resulting in a 1-1 tie, with Emma King scoring her second goal of the season. In their latest game against Niagara, the Zips suffered their first home loss of the season. Looking ahead, the Zips head back on the road to face Dayton and Buffalo in the next 2 games. The Zips are off to a great start, and we hope to see more of the same as the season progresses. I'm Zach Leininger signing off. Go Zips!
Thank you, Zach, for the insight. Now, Josh, you look at this team, you look at the season they've had so far. What are your big takeaways? What's really catching your eye?
Well, when I look at this team, there's 2 things that really catch my eye. First things first, you got to see how young this team is. Like, we don't have – do we have seniors?
I don't think there's a single senior on the roster.
I'm saying, couple juniors, a lot of sophomores, a whole bunch of sophomores. So the thing is, though, with a team this young, that means they have time to grow and develop, and that's a good thing, too, because that leads into the other thing I was going to say. We have a new coach. And, new coach, new systems. And with our players being this young, they're able to grow and develop into the system.
Yeah, definitely, as Coach Simon said, these younger players, they'll be more open to a new system and new styles of play. And I think that could really benefit a program that hasn't seen, their best days recently, at least last season. It's kind of, you're quick to move past that season, So I think a new head coach is exactly what we need. Especially to line up with the younger roster. I think this is kind of just interesting. You think about how good that team could be in 2 years when all of those sophomores are seniors, because these are players that are obviously developing the whole way together. That's 4 years. That'll be their 4th year playing together. So I think there's just a lot of things to be excited about, with this team, and hopefully they, continue to have some strong play. The first game we saw at home was obviously a great one, but the question will be, can they continue that momentum? And we'll see if they can. So we're now going to switch gears pretty hard, and we're going to jump into some football, who have also just started their season. So here's Josh with that.
Yo, what's good, y'all? I hope y'all hype because Akron football is back and better. But before we get into that, let's look back on last season a little bit. Now, the Zips team is coming off a pretty underwhelming season, you feel me? You got to think they went 2-10 last year, and they went 1-7 in the MAC. They didn't do too great. But one thing about a season like that, it's going for some changes, and this Zips team definitely saw some of those. And the biggest change to this team got to be signing Joe Moorhead as our head coach. He was a Zips coach before 2005, led us to a MAC championship. And he was Oregon's offensive coordinator, so the man knows his football. But hey, I know what y'all here for. Let's see what this Moorhead team did against St. Francis. First quarter was real defensive. Both teams only got a field goal, but Justin Slowalski found Dawson Snyder at the beginning of the second quarter to put St. Francis in scoring position. And sure enough, the next play they give it to Damon Horton and he punches it in, giving St. Francis the 10-3 lead. But it took 0 time for this Zips offense to respond. They came out doing what they had to do. And just look at DJ Irons connecting with Shockey to put the Zips in the red zone. And then fast forward a couple plays, Irons finds Tristan Brink in the end zone for a 9-yard touchdown pass to tie things up. And at this point, it's clear that we got ourselves a ball game. St. Francis responded with a couple of field goals to give them a 16-10 lead, but look at Shockey, wide open, 41-yard touchdown, giving the Zips a 17-16 lead. And at this point, Akron definitely had the momentum, and they was trying to ice this game. And look at Daniel George, what a crazy grab. And then after a few good plays by Cam, Wiley, DJ Irons, and Shockey, Wiley goes ahead and punches it in, giving the Zips a 7-point lead. But look, this is where the game really get interesting. St. Francis loads the right side on the PAT and gets a block with 5 minutes left in the fourth quarter. This game ain't over yet. And then this obviously gave them some type of momentum. You see what they did following the kickoff. And then a few plays after that absolute bomb of a pass, DeAndre Scott cuts back, gets 6, and we are going to overtime. And this Zips offense does not shy down in clutch moments. Cam Wiley goes ahead, punches it in for 6, giving the Zips the lead in overtime. And St. Francis gets one more chance to score, but Tyson Durant is not going. Straps, picks it off, ball game. The Zips start their season off right with an overtime dub. Final score 30-23. This was Josh with the coverage. Peace.
Well, thank you, Josh, for that coverage. Obviously we're happy that they walked away with that week 1 victory, but I can't lie, it wasn't the most reassuring game. Like, a win is a win, but against a team like St. Francis, you would like to win by more. Like, I might be wrong, but I think the Zips were roughly 17-point favorites.
Yeah.
So there's no reason you can be going to overtime, against a team like that.
Yeah, for sure. Looking at that game, I think the biggest thing that stood out to me, though, was like that Zips defense. It wasn't looking the hottest, you feel me? St. Francis, they scored 23 points. Their quarterback was running the ball crazy, and our tackling was really sloppy too. Mm-hmm. A lot of broken tackles. So I think we definitely need to work on that. But
a win is a win.
Yeah,
honestly,
for sure.
And for negatives that happen, there's going to be negatives in every game, and
right.
You just got to hope that the Zips team, they kind of focus in on what they could be doing better, and they do them better. So getting back a little bit to, I remember you mentioned the opposing team's quarterback. Let's talk about our quarterback a little bit. Do you think that DJ Irons can be that guy?
Oh, I definitely think DJ Irons could be that guy. Just look at him. You feel me? He could run the ball. He got a nice arm on him. And then, I don't know if you peeped, but when he was throwing it, a lot of back shoulder throws to where only his receivers could get it. So he's showing flashes. I think the only thing with him is he gets a little uncomfortable in the pocket. And he rolls out a lot when he doesn't need to. I think he needs to learn to sit in the pocket a little longer, go through all his reads, and then make a good pass.
Yeah, and looking at last season, he's obviously got that mobility, but his tendencies in the pocket, and leaving the pocket, last year it led to a decent amount of turnovers. A lot of fumbles. So he's definitely got the skills. He's got the pieces. And hopefully he just continues to evolve and progress and kind of put the pieces together, the best he can. And we do have to point out, he has lost some receivers. There have been some transfers in the past season. So, he's maybe not working with some of the weapons that he'd like to be working with.
Right.
But, I think he's just got to, keep playing well. And I think he will.
Yeah. And then you mentioned that he lost some of his receivers. I'm not too worried about that just because with a new coach, Moorhead did a lot of recruiting. We got a lot of players from major programs. We got players from LSU. We got players from Oregon and other schools. Mm-hmm. So I'm not too worried about it. I just think they just need to build some chemistry for real. So
yeah, and the only real solution to that is just time. The more they play together, the more time goes by, the better they'll be meshing and they'll be playing. And talking a little bit more about Moorhead, I mean, that's just such a tremendous hire. I'm pretty sure, it might not have been Sports Illustrated, but a major publication like that ranked him the best hire of the offseason. So you got to be feeling good about that and just about the new coaching regime that's coming in. I will say, on that, he's obviously been bringing in some great recruits, right. But it'll take time for those recruiting classes to truly develop.
Definitely.
And it'll just get better the more he's with this team. So I don't want to have a negative outlook, but you can't be expecting a ton this season, and you can't be really scrutinizing the season under a microscope like you maybe would want to, because you kind of just need time for this coaching staff to settle, for their recruiting classes to come in, and for the team to develop.
Right.
So, some big games coming up, Michigan State, Tennessee, I believe.
Yeah.
So hopefully they can be playing, a little better than they played week 1. And, hopefully that week 1 game, it was just the jitters, new coach, new game, new season. The tension, it's going to be, you're going to be a little on edge.
Yeah.
So hopefully that the Zips can, move past that hump and keep putting some W's on the board because they are a 1-0 team.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so, a lot of good things, and hopefully they keep playing well. So we're getting towards the end of our, mid-current season discussion, but we do have a bit more coming up. So stay tuned after this last commercial break for more.
You're watching ZTV.
Akron After Hours this season, we're doing things a little differently.
If you need to do something to feel okay to drive, you're not okay to drive. Don't drive buzzed.
You're watching ZTV.
Welcome back. So we're done talking about this current football season on the episode, but we're not quite done with Zips football as a whole. We're going to leave you with a brand new segment called Zips Classics, where we take looks at iconic moments throughout Zips history. And we're starting with the 2005 football season, when they not only won the MAC championship, but a certain man named Joe Moorhead was on the coaching staff. Be sure to follow our social media accounts at ZTV Sports on Instagram and Twitter, and at ZTV Sports Report on YouTube. As always, I'm Max Erisey.
I'm Josh Feaster.
Thank you for watching, and enjoy Zips Classic.
Second-year head coach J.D. Brookhart's biggest challenge this fall is finding a replacement for Charlie Fry at quarterback. Fry left Akron with 54 school records and last season accounted for 70% of the team's total offense. Now with the Cleveland Browns, Fry ended his collegiate career ranked 16th on the NCAA career passing list. The heir apparent under center for the Zips is junior Luke Getsy. Getsy set out last season after transferring to Akron from Pittsburgh and saw his first action in the Zips spring game last April.
Didn't really know too much about Luke coming into the season, obviously, and we've had Charlie Fry for 4 years, and he set numerous records but never was able to win a conference championship. But then I think it was after the Northern Illinois game, the first time we played them, where we kind of realized, okay, we have a quarterback who can get us through some games, get us through some tough wins. Obviously, we beat Northern Illinois in overtime the first time we played them. So a lot of confidence obviously went in with Luke probably after that first win and comfort level. So it was good to see that transition. And again, Luke was out for a transfer year. So he learned under Charlie Fry as well. So that was a good thing for him and obviously made him successful here at Akron.
Lining up alongside Getsy in the backfield will be second-year starter Brett Biggs. An All-MAC selection in 2004, Biggs ranked 6th in the conference with 133 all-purpose yards per game while picking up 871 rushing yards on the season. When the Zips are not running the ball with Biggs, watch for Getsy to throw the ball in the direction of wide receivers Dominic Hickson and Jabari Arthur. Hickson led the Zips last season with 66 catches for 882 yards and 6 touchdowns. The senior was also an All-MAC kick returner, averaging over 17 yards per return.
Defensively, Jay Rohr was a big one. Reggie Corner, one of the DBs. Kiki Gonzalez on the defensive line, Jermaine Reed, Chevin Pace. All these guys contributed to the defensive side of the ball, making the plays when they needed to make them, and especially down or up in Detroit during the MAC championship game where we were down for most of the game. We needed some heavy defensive stops, and we were able to get those. It was cold, and next thing you know, they're coming out for warm-ups, and the snow's starting to come down. Then they go in the locker room after warm-ups. They come back out, and it's still snowing. And then you can't see from the press box at the Rubber Bowl down to the field. I mean, there was that much snow coming down. It played into the game because Kent couldn't move the ball, and Akron was able to run the ball on them a lot. Not only that, our special teams just had an amazing day as well. I can remember a punt from Billy Sullivan that I think we punted from our 40, 30 maybe, and it hit like at their 20, and it just rolled for another 20 yards all the way down to like the 1, and it was like amazing. And then of course the defense comes right back out and creates a turnover, a quick scoop and score, and Akron, just dominated that game, which was great. Obviously getting that wagon wheel victory. Banner coming out, the wagon wheel coming out, the East trophy from the conference coming out. Though it was a co-championship, I think it was with Miami, we had the tiebreaker, and we were heading up to Detroit to play for a MAC championship. Again, we're going up against a Northern Illinois team that we faced in the Rubber Bowl earlier in the year. It was like they had our number from the fact that when we played them the first time, we were winning the whole game, and then they caught up to send it to overtime. We ultimately won in overtime. But then this was just a different feeling the first 3 quarters. Like they were just going to put it to us. And they did. What obviously sticks out the most is the catch by Dominic Hickson in the end zone from the pass from Luke Getsy. He, tried to pump fake it. I think he was looking for Merce Perndexter, one of the tight ends, and the route was just there. And at one point in time, I think you even questioned whether or not Hickson completed the catch in the end zone. But when the officials came back and said he did, and it was kind of the catch and kind of drag, it was an amazing, moment for Akron football and Akron football history. I mean, Dominic Hickson, he was dehydrated throughout the course of the second half to where he may not have even played that last series, but he did and made that miraculous catch. And then you had Billy Sullivan and Jason Swagger go out to hit the game-winning extra point. And then you're celebrating at the 50-yard line at Ford Field. And it was a great feeling for Akron football fans, for sure.
This program was produced by ZTV at the University of Akron. Do you want to gain experience in video production, professional social media, or working with real clients? Visit the UA School of Communications online or follow us on social media to learn more. ZTV, make media, make a difference.